Hey, Chani Moniker, developmental audiologist here. That means I help you facilitate development and optimal learning. Let's address the pink elephant first. You may be wondering why a developmental audiologist is talking about parenting rather than hearing and listening, like most audiology channels. Great question. I'm on a mission to make the learning process easier. As someone who is trained to deal with the hearing impaired, I was taught to focus on listening as a communicative relationship between listener and speaker. Each one has their role and responsibility for successful communication. It occurred to me that education, at its core, is a communicative event with a speaker and a listener. In this situation, we want the educator to be the main speaker and the student the listener. I help improve the education process by doing assessments at the Hearing Kids Clinic to see how well the listener's physiological function, their body, serves them to listen. And I do parent and teacher trainings to help these educators be better speakers by providing an understanding of their audience, the individual student who is not understanding what the educator is trying to communicate. Let's imagine, if you will, that you were speaking to somebody who's British, but didn't know it because they adopted the American accent so well. The subtle language differences would make for some very interesting, unexpected outcomes, and you wouldn't know why or how you need to adjust without learning this person is really British, or Australian, or African, right? There are actually a lot of countries that learn English, but with subtle differences. And if we don't have the expected cues, we don't know how to fix the problem. Well, if you aren't getting the results you expect when educating your child, be it as a parent or a teacher, then something is getting lost in translation. My trainings are to help you recognize these cues, these red flags, so you know where to look and what to look for. So let's get started here by looking at what expectations you have and what knowledge and beliefs you have about parenting and child development. So the question is, should you always make decisions for your child to avoid problems? And your choices were, yes, it ensures success, or no, making mistakes is part of learning, or only for important decisions. And the answer is no, making mistakes is part of learning. Being overly protective is counterproductive to your child's growth. Just like when you teach your child to swim or ride a bike, you want to let children go in a safe but non-hindering way. I would not go driving with my children until my husband knew they had mastered driving. This was because I knew I would get nervous, which would in turn make them nervous and not create the confident, safe drivers we wanted our children to be. So I left the job to Dad and the professionals as the best option for everyone involved. What would you have done in my shoes? Share in the comments.